Thank you so much for having me.
Good. Congratulations on your success.
Thanks, man.
And it's very refreshing to hear a soul R&B artist again. You know what I mean? So how's everything going for you?
Man, it's been tremendously fun.
Yeah.
It's been fun. Yeah. We put Kaleidoscope Dream, my sophomore album, out last year in October, and the ride since then has just been phenomenal, man. From the success of Adore, the first single.
Yes.
Performing at the Grammys and winning a Grammy this year for everyone. It's been a tremendous blessing, man. So I'm having a good time, man. We're here on tour with Alicia Keys. It's my first time in Montreal.
You're welcome.
Yeah. It's been a pleasure. Yeah.
I want to talk to you about your hit single Adore. What state of mind were you in when you wrote that song?
Man, I mean, I'm sure you've been here before. You're gone for too long.
Okay.
And you miss your girl. At some point you gotta, even if you're single or whatever.
Yes.
People have experienced that, like you miss that somebody.
Okay.
And that's where I was,
Okay.
I miss my girl, and I hadn't seen her in like too long.
Wow. Okay.
And I was on a plane, and the first line is, these lips can't wait to taste this skin. That's pretty much where it came from. And it was one of those songs I don't really remember writing.
Okay.
It almost wrote itself.
Wow.
Here I am.
Okay. And what about your single Do You? Which is very interesting also.
Yeah.
Where did that whole idea come from?
I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Yeah. The music that I put out, if you look back, or if you know anything about my music, I'm a fairly direct person.
Yes.
I pretty much say what I feel.
Okay.
And from songs like Quickie,
Yes.
or Sure Thing is very straightforward. It's a bit more poetic, but I would like to say I'm one of those guys who gets away with saying some pretty outlandish things. And I think it's just because I just say what I mean. I say, And Do You is one of those songs where it's just, that's what I was thinking, and that was the question. Here it is, Yeah.
It's interesting because, again, like I said at the beginning, it was so refreshing to hear a soul R&B artist today. What were your influences growing up? Which artists, and what did they mean to you?
Man, there's so many, between, obvious influences like Marvin Gaye,
Yes.
or Prince,
Of course.
There's David Bowie, and there's Freddie Mercury, and Sting, and the Police, and Queen, of course, the Beatles, which I think is another fairly obvious record if you know anything about the Beatles. I'm sorry, obvious influence.
Okay.
But then there's like non-musical influences like Bruce Lee.
Why Bruce Lee?
Man, I'm a huge fan of Bruce Lee just because his philosophy.
Okay.
He's a philosophy major in college.
Yes.
Graduated with philosophy degrees. And I think his philosophy on life just kind of were the reason why he was so diligent in his practice and developing his own style, and his perspective philosophically, I think, has everything to do with his style. That classic interview, and I said this before, this classic interview of him just being like, you put water in a cup, it becomes the cup.
Okay.
Be like water, be ever changing, ever evolving, be able to, adapt,
Okay.
be adaptable. You know what I'm saying? I think that's his whole thing. It's just like being able to adapt, and that's why he was the greatest. So, that's why he's one of my favorites, and I'm an influence, definitely an influence. So, writers, poets, so on and so forth.
Like we like to say in French, I feel your fashion style is avant-garde. It's ahead of its time. Talk to us about your whole fashion swag, and even what you have on today is pretty interesting.
Cool. Yeah, the Sacred Hearts. Yeah. It's evolved, right? It's
Yes.
evolved. I'm a huge fan of fashion, and I've always been a huge fan of fashion.
Okay.
I won't say that I'm the best. I don't have the best style,
Okay.
but
It's unique.
it's getting better. It's getting better, and the reason why I say that is because I really have a genuine interest in, and I do research. I'm really interested in why trends became trends, and the cultural circumstances that have influenced trends. You know what I'm saying? And doing that research, you kind of get to see how those cultural and economic, details have influenced designers to create silhouettes that, empower women, or make women feel more powerful, or are more edgy, or just kind of are rebellious, or so on and so forth. And I think with that nouns, I've been able to kind of tailor my style to feel, like it's my own. And I don't think I've ever been more comfortable or more confident in what I wear than I am right now. So I would describe my style as being, edgy and kind of counterculture. Before, I think I was trying my hand at a more like futuristic type of vibe. And I don't know, you try things and you grow. So we're ever evolving. Yeah.
And, being on tour and having a successful album, you get very busy. Is there something that you always wanted to do in life but you haven't had a chance yet to do?
Man, I suppose there's plenty of things in life that I'd like to do. But I see them happening. Only because I want them so bad. I mean, I've always just liked the idea of like going to like remote hidden islands and like swimming with just really cool people or meeting cool people and just like doing just wild shit. You know what I mean? Things that I want to do. I want to do the things that the average human being does not experience. Not because they can't, but because they don't have the courage or not even the courage. That's that comes off the wrong way. Some people just don't like to take risks. I think life is about risks. We're defined by the risks that we're willing to take. And why not? I want to live an extraordinary life, so I just want to do things that are rare. I think that's what's cool. Yeah.
Cool. What's the coolest thing a fan's ever done for you?
Coolest thing a fan has ever done for me? Oh, that's tough. That's really tough.
Many things.
I'll be honest with you. Something as simple as saying "excuse me" is probably one of the coolest things a fan can do, because I was raised to be polite. And I think like when I'm in the middle of like eating and it's been a long ass day and I've done tons of promo and all I want to do is just eat and someone says come here or doesn't even say excuse me. That shit is so irritating. You know what I mean? It's just the human. It's the human part of me that's like, yo, could you at least just say excuse me? But little shit like that, that goes a long way. I really appreciate that.
You're from LA, right?
Born and raised, yeah.
Okay, exactly. It's interesting because you always hear about Hollywood movies in LA, but what is the LA music scene like? We don't hear much about it.
I think it's I'm excited for people to get more of an idea of the culture and the music scene that's in Los Angeles.
Yes.
And interestingly, a lot of producers and musicians who were living in like Atlanta and New York are moving back to Los Angeles.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, so I think it's on its way. The resurgence of what LA music, feels and looks and moves like is going to be more in the forefront and more understood and documented. But I think there's a coolness to the artists in Los Angeles, especially ones born and raised there. Unfortunately, because Los Angeles is so huge, it's easy to kind of be self-contained and not be so like we're all together, we're all repping together. But I think right now it's becoming more and more like that again, and I'm excited. I mean, between Jhené Aiko and Kendrick and Schoolboy and Absol and artists who have been doing it out there. Jay Davey, myself, and so many more artists who are from Los Angeles who have just been doing it for a long time. I'm excited for
blow.
I'm excited for it to blow up again. Yeah.
I always like to compare, acting and music. And one thing about actors are always practicing to improve their craft. What does Miguel do in order to elevate his craft?
Man, I'll be honest with you. I never took vocal lessons
Oh, really?
until
Oh.
we started touring,
Okay.
you know, and I didn't realize how important really understanding the mechanics of your voice and how that can contribute or take away from how powerful you are or how powerful you come across on stage,
Yeah.
you know. So I've been working really hard with my vocal coach, you know, to expand my range, strengthen those weak points. I mean, it's a never-ending process. Whatever you do, it's
Okay.
always you should always be, you know, ever learning and wanting. If you love it,
Okay.
you're gonna strive to learn more about it, right?
Okay.
And know as much as you can. And so it's been that, and just kind of like training my ear for, you know, just to train my ear, like chords and shit like that. Because I'm as musical as I am, and as musical as my instincts are, I can honestly tell you, like, I can't read music,
Okay.
and it's something that I want to do. You know, it's a skill that I feel is necessary, and at this point in my life, because I want to do more, I want to produce and executive produce and A&R, and
Yeah.
I just want to be able to communicate with musicians in a way that streamlines any confusion. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Okay.
you know, so I can be very direct. So just little things like that, yeah. But ever learning, man. So much to
That's
learn.
good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, other than music and fashion that you have a love for, what other passions do you have?
Man, I grew up playing sports. My father,
Oh, really?
yeah,
Okay.
my father played sports his entire life and raised me to play sports. So I still love to play like basketball
Okay, cool.
and football,
Okay.
as you would call it here.
Yeah.
As my father would call it in Spanish, you know.
Okay.
But yeah, when I can, I play as much as I can.
Okay.
Yeah,
Lakers gonna make the playoffs or what?
yeah. Man, I hope so. I'm die hard. You know what I mean? They